Okay, I think we are live. Nobody will be here yet. They usually trickle in within a few minutes as the notifications come out. But yeah, I'm back with my coach, Alessandro Manzone. He has a YouTube channel which he started about maybe a few weeks ago, which you can check out. I have his account titled there that you can check out on YouTube. And he just came back from a tournament. And yeah, welcome back.
Thanks a lot, Tyler. Yeah, tough tournament, but yeah, went kind of well.
Yeah, not bad, not bad.
So what have you been up to? I mean, you've played a lot.
I've been grinding away, doing the same old. Caught another cheater today. I played them yesterday, but I reported them yesterday on Christmas. So, yeah, it was just a blatant cheating, and so yeah, got them reported. Feel good about that.
Really, you know, like some crazy moves that were impossible to.
Well, actually, not really. I mean, I was actually slightly better, and then I just blundered a pawn. But he played so quickly against my Dutch, and he played just so quickly and accurately. And then I checked his account history, and didn't make sense. He has too many recent games where he plays perfect against his opponents. Like only one inaccuracy for the whole game against like all of his recent wins. And then a couple weeks ago, he's losing to 1500s and 1600s. It doesn't really make sense. So, so I reported.
Tell me it's the one I have here.
Oh, let's. No, I don't see him here. No.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Good. Yeah, because I'm for today. I'm bringing back a recent painful memory of the Dutch.
Okay. There's a lot of them.
Just because this is part of the risk of playing the Dutch, I guess, but at the same time, it's something to pay attention to, of course. When your opponent plays this is probably one of the variations that you struggle the most against.
The Raphael, yeah. I don't want to tell my competition. Like I'm always scared of my turn because it's happened. I've had my over the board opponents. They're like, oh yeah, I watch your channel, and then they prepare against me. But yeah, no, it's true. This is probably this and the. Actually, I think the Staunton don't have the greatest track record against, but I'm building upon it. And the Hopton attack, I think, is also another one that's kind of challenging. But I think overall you're correct that this might be the worst variation, like the hardest variation that I faced. It's called the Raphael variation.
Mm.
And
after whom? I wonder. Raphael variation.
Yeah, I don't
know. Know the name.
Yeah.
I mean, apart from seeing it in on lead chess where it says the name of the variation, and Raphael variation didn't really ring a bell. But yeah, it's challenging. I mean, I think for a very long time the standard was just to play c4, g3, probably against pretty much anything, and nowadays there's other stuff to consider. You play well. You play knight f6, bishop g5.
Yeah, I think knight f6 is mandatory because e4 otherwise.
Yeah, I mean, I'm trying to remember because there are some weird lines where black plays c6 and queen b6.
I think in after d5 and then queen d3, c6 is the top move. I was just looking at this earlier today, but queen d3 is not very.
D3 though?
Yeah.
Is this a thing?
I faced it a bunch of times. Actually, that's this game. Game. They played it this game, so that's why it's fresh in my memory. So c6, but yeah. I played e6 in the game. It's like a 20 cent pawn difference. So it's not a big deal, but Yeah, c6 can be played.
Yeah, it's of normal at least.
Mm-hmm.
And f3. Now, though, where white wants to play e4, when he does so in good conditions, and you don't have an effective answer, you could be in real trouble.
Yeah, I don't
Because
like
your
f3.
position.
Like it's annoying.
Mm,
And it usually means they know what they're doing. Because you don't like, yeah, because it's often a good suggestion by the computer, F3 against the classical Dutch, but not many people do it.
mhm. It's the only way for white to aspire to break on e4. And And when he does so in good conditions, you might struggle because your position really has weaknesses. You push d5, f5, your king is a little bit open, you have the e5 square, which is a really big problem. And if the center opens up, he's ready to castle very quickly. So you need, and this is
Yeah.
probably
So
somewhat critical moment, probably.
So it's funny you bring up this game because I just optimized the opening for it, as you know I do. I'm pretty sure I played knight c6 here, and then
Mhm.
that was not the optimal way to play. I should have um, striked in the center here with c5.
Uh-huh. Which
The
is, I mean, it makes sense.
I can tell you
Um,
why I played knight c6 if you're curious,
mhm.
because there's some lines similar to this when white's bishop goes on d3. I'm thinking like for example e3, e6, bishop d3, and then I think and there's some annotated games in chess space when knight c6 is the modern way to play, and it's to make white spend a tempo like to play a3, preventing black from
Oh,
going to knight b4. So that's the idea behind
mm,
it. And then I kind of played this really quickly. When he played queen d3, I thought I could just do the same idea, but the problem is it's hard for me, and I don't quite know the difference. Like I don't know. I wonder what the difference is between playing it here and
even if white loses a tempo at some point by playing a3, I still don't know where the knight is going, though. The knight on c6
here.
looks weird.
You're talking about here. Yeah, I'm pretty sure this is
Mm.
the line
And
where
if a3, I don't know if we need to play 3, but let's say we do.
yeah. Then I think
Uh,
it like I don't have my repertoire open right now, but I think this was the line.
Maybe just go bishop e7, castle, and at some point you reroute it. Um, because it's still kind of misplaced. Without a pawn on c5 putting pressure on d4, then the knight is basically stuck on c6. Um, at the same time, he hasn't played c4 and he's not playing e4 anytime soon, so you might get away with it. That's also true.
I wonder
No one
if
has any
I'm
blocks.
possibly mistaking this with the Hopton, um, which is sorry way back here.
Mhm.
I might be thinking of this, and then maybe knight c3 d5. Maybe I'm thinking of this, and then knight
Something like
c6.
this.
Maybe here.
Yeah, I mean, even though you're dropping the
Oh
pawn
yeah,
here,
yeah.
maybe you
Sorry.
have to play some bishop
Yeah,
with first.
yeah.
You have
Oh,
e7 though, and it makes some more sense. You have e7 for the knight. So this maneuver looks reasonable, holding everything together, playing c6 maybe. Um, but yeah, in a position like this, the knight is very restricted. You're not going to e7, clearly. You need the square for the bishop, and the knight is not going anywhere anyways from e7. Um, so yeah, I kind of doubt that knight c6 is the move here. I mean, c5 was clearly better. Maybe you can even get away with some bishop e7, and if e4 you're ready to.
Yeah, because once I play knight c6, I burn that bridge. I can't really play c5 anymore. So at least with bishop e7, I can still play c5.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. It's still there. He castles and he's way ahead. If he gets e4 in, you really need something now against this. And you played well, I think, but at the same time, this is very demanding. This is very demanding because you're not just playing c5 and going back. Um, he's going to destroy you. He's going to destroy you with e4. That's the problem. Because this takes time. Knight b4, queen d2, c5. He blows the center with d4. And then what?
Yeah.
You're way behind
My
development.
king's
Getting
still
back
in the
to
middle.
it's not gonna help. Yeah. I don't know if the line is good or not, but it's very demanding. You probably should play bishop e7. And if e4, f takes and castle, maybe you can play that. You do have some counterplay there, don't you? Like e4, f takes castles, for example. And if e5, you will have stuff like knight g4, knight f2. This is, I mean, it's looking complicated.
Yeah, my poor light squared bishop, though.
Yeah, that one is still gonna be a problem, but you may find a solution.
It's like a
enough.
French now.
He has to deal with some stuff.
This is similar to French. Yeah, right? It looks like a French.
Yeah, good thing is that he doesn't have this semi-open file against the backward pawn on e6 because he has a pawn e4, so that is still there.
No, but if e5, right? It looks like an advanced French or.
Oh yeah, but there you have knight g4. He has to worry about that. You're probably solid enough though. I mean, if he plays e5, he will have to maneuver this knight for it to make some sense. You may do the same and break on c5 ultimately. The important thing is that you castled and nothing terrible happened to you.
This would be so hard for me to play though, because I do not play anything remotely like I don't play French structures. So, so I wouldn't really have. Yeah, it would be hard for me. That's probably why I didn't.
The evaluation of this. But it's tough. The center blows up. Your king is still there, and I don't know. I don't know if you can get away with something like queen a5. Probably not. I thought, well, when I looked through this, I was looking for some quick counterplay, because I mean, if f takes h6 just sounds wrong. He takes on f6, the center falls apart, and your king is completely exposed.
Mm-hmm.
What else? Did you consider anything else? Let me see how much time. Yeah, it took you close to a minute to take on e4.
Yeah, this is hard because this is, first of all, a very unusual position for me in the Dutch. So I was not familiar with this. I didn't know what I was doing. I probably said that. I think I played this live on stream, and I probably said I have no idea what to do here.
No, but this is insanely hard. I don't really know what's going on.
There's some positions, like I think, again, it might be the Hopton. If I just jump back to, well, I'll go all the way to the beginning here. But like the Hopton, I think the computer likes to, I can't remember if it might have been the Raphael. It's either the Hopton or the Raphael variation where the computer actually wants to castle queenside, which is kind of weird. But yeah.
Sorry, Flo?
Oh, can you hear me? Yeah, Okay, we might have some connection issues. Well, I think he froze there. He'll probably be back in a second. There we go. It's happened sometimes. I think he'll be back in like 5 seconds, probably. Okay. Oh, he's probably just reconnecting. Oh, I'll type here. You disconnected.
Hi.
Oh, can you hear me now?
Oh, okay.
Okay,
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah. Sorry,
Some,
apparently my
so,
connection.
yeah.
Yeah.
Um,
All good.
I'm not sure what the last thing you heard me say was, but I was just saying that uh, it's either in the Raphael variation or the Hopton attack, where the computer actually wants to castle queenside, and so I can't remember if it's the Hopton line where the computer wants to do it. I think it might be. And then the computer actually wants to castle queenside. So I was kind of thinking of that in this game. I forget where we were, but around here. So I think I was still considering possibly castling queenside. It seems pretty far fetched to do it though here.
Yeah, it's very different. The center is like
Yeah,
complete tension. Everything is being traded. There's no way you play and like 3 moves to
yeah,
castle. Yeah, it's a lot.
yeah.
um, yeah, at this point
Oh,
you have to counter strike somehow.
I think I didn't play Bishop E7 because, of course, there's obviously I would prefer to do that in one move, but so I'm kind of waiting. But
Yeah, feels like it's too late. I think of c takes, queen takes, knight c6, so it counts with temp or something like that. I don't know. Or
oh, I
even
remember. Well,
queen
I was
a5
I was
first.
scared of E5 here. I remember that.
e5.
Yeah.
But at which point, because c takes d, what does he play?
Well, I didn't really look at honestly. I didn't really look at C takes D4. I don't know why.
You can start with queen a5 too, because a3 you still have c takes, and you threaten to take on c3, attacking the queen. So you can start with queen a5. I don't know which one's best. What I like about queen a5 is that you might threaten c takes, queen takes, bishop c5, supported by the queen on a5, and you win time to castle somehow.
And we get out of the pin.
Yeah, but yeah, I mean, if you're depending on these crazy lines to survive here, maybe you
Yeah.
went into something very demanding.
Yeah. No, I was not
Um,
comfortable here.
Yeah, f takes feels like it's just helping him play knight f3 too. Um, at the same time, it's if you don't play something like that queen a5, um, yeah, it's just going to be too tough. And h6, yeah, this I don't think you can survive here. It's too much. Takes, he takes d, and your king is not even close to getting to safety. Takes, knight takes d5, e takes d check, and you're stuck there forever. Yeah. I don't even know if these are the best moves or anything. Bishop b5 looks very compelling. In fact, it makes more sense to me. Because king d8, knight f3, and just developing rook e1. Isn't this giving you a chance to? No, it's not. And bishop e7, you're still expecting this? Yeah, you're not getting away from this check, and you can't even go to the f file due to the pin on the f file. Yeah.
I thought it also just there D can't just like D takes C5 after bishop E7 D takes C5.
Oh, bishop e7,
Yeah.
or just d takes
Yeah.
c and allow you to. Oh no, you're not allowing anything.
Yeah.
d5 is falling with check. Yeah, it makes sense. It's not a solution, definitely. um, so bishop e6, check, and yeah, you're staying there forever. Queen a5
Yeah,
check.
no, this was. Oh, yeah, and then I just drop a bishop at the end. I think I was actually, I still had chances until I dropped the bishop in a couple moves.
Yeah, this is weird. I mean, why not b6? I know it opens.
I didn't love Queen A6.
Queen a6. He's getting in here.
Yeah, just being annoying. It felt like he can tie me down there and then develop his other pieces. I felt.
Queen a4, maybe.
Yeah. I just didn't want to. I don't know. I just didn't want to give him this little pathway into my side there. Yeah, maybe just Queen A4.
Yeah, this is definitely not going to be comfortable in any scenarios, really. But d takes c, bishop takes,
And then I think
knight
next,
f3.
and then I blunder. Then I play Bishop D7. I think.
Yeah, you
just-
blunder this one.
Yeah, but the funny thing is, had I not done that, I think, if I remember correctly, I was worse. It was like +1 or something, but I still have chances.
Alive, sort of.
Yeah, I'm on life support, but I still had some chances.
Problem is, it's really hard to play for you. And that's the most annoying thing. I mean, besides the evaluation, apart from that, it's really hard because everything is sort of hanging. The bishops don't find footing. Like the bishop on e6 is always hanging, and you don't have any pawns to defend it. I really wanted to play the check, so then we could play something like queen b4 and it's changed, but this one's hanging here. What are you supposed to play?
Yeah, that's why I played Bishop D7, but yeah, I just missed it.
Not that one. Yeah, I mean it's very easy to go south here because you want to put the bishop here. Maybe you play bishop f5 and just white has all the natural moves at his disposal. Your king is still there. Yeah,
And we only have one rook to play with.
Yeah, now well, it's over. But yeah, the critical moment was in the open. This is very
C5. I think it was all about C5.
Yeah, if white gets e4 in and your king is still in some danger and you just have to liquidate everything on e4, you're worse for sure. and it tends to happen very often. It tends to happen very often in the Dutch.
I think I played knight. I think I played knight c6 too quick as well. Probably because I was just using that previous idea of when the bishop is on d3 to play it. But how long did I spend? Oh, yeah, 12 or 13. Yeah, so pretty quick. For me, that's very quick in the opening.
Yeah, we're trying to get everything right. Yeah. Yeah, with the bishop on d3, it's true that if you get this exchange, it's very favorable. Yeah. Even after this, it might not be the end of the world if you just develop and castle. Because your opponent is also kind of underdeveloped. And he's spending a lot of time to make this happen. So you might get away with just developing yourself. Before, I don't know if f takes c, but it looks so natural that it has to be done.
Oh yeah, but
And yeah,
I
knight
know
g4.
I hate this knight on c6. It's I've got no where's my because he's just going to attack on my king side. Where's my player on the queen side?
But how? Well, for the time being, he has to face this. And e5 knight g4 is
I don't know.
extremely
It just looks
disadvantageous.
so just this type of position just looks so much easier for white to attack black than for
Let's
black to
say he
do
plays
anything.
bishop b2 then to stop this, I guess.
I don't know. I thought anything like h4 who
No, but this is really a problem.
is it so bad? Like knight a3.
Like, for example, I don't know, king b1 to
H4
get
or
out.
say H4 knight G4 knight A3. Sorry. Yeah,
h4,
H4 knight G4 knight H3. Yeah.
knight g4, knight h3. Can we begin to it's change some stuff? Oh wait, if knight takes, we have this. Oh no, we don't. H takes. Have to take back anyway. So knight takes, rook takes.
I don't know, queen G3 maybe? Or queen E3?
G3.
Maybe queen E3.
I will have to go back f7 or f8.
Then E5. E5 now.
Oh, which one? Sorry,
E5.
e5. Then yeah, you'll probably just do something like. And with the pawn on e5, I'm not so scared because this pawn is rather safe. Safer than what you usually get, at least. Yeah, it is a restricted position. You don't like restricted positions. um, but at this point, you need to get the king to safety because when he gets e4 in, you're hardly going. Sometimes, even with the king being castled, it's problematic when white gets to play e4 quickly and you don't really have counterplay in the center. It does happen. That's why I put this game here. Well, Arkan is my favorite player. I mean, every time I can, I just choose a game from Arkan and throw it there.
I didn't know he was your favorite player. I'm kind of surprised.
Probably,
It
yeah.
doesn't feel like your style.
No, and I think that's exactly the reason why. I mean, I admire what I can't do. I can't even. It's not what I feel comfortable with. The guy really could play being down material for a long time. Just every time he had the initiative, he was unbearable. It was impossible to play against him when he had some sort of initiative. Even if he wasn't objectively better, he would always make. Put really tough problems for the opponent to solve, and that's something I think I'm not very good at.
Reminds me a little bit of Lasker.
Yeah, Lasker could also be extremely creative when it came to posing original problems. And I think of Anakin as the first universal player to some extent. Like, the guy felt equally comfortable playing a completely messy position, but he could also win a very long endgame just grinding for 100 moves, and he'll play very well. And that wasn't common. I mean, he just did what he needed to do according to the position. That was very impressive. Of course, Capablanca was definitely a monster, but I think like that I can kind of push the bar a little bit higher in that sense. Positional play on its own, it's just not going to cut it.
Mm.
um, so, well, as you see, it started off just like as a normal QGD. And, well, black plays 94, which is the Lasker variation. Incidentally, it said that Lasker inserted h6 bishop h4 before playing 94, and the proper line goes h6 bishop h4 94. And there are some subtleties here and there, but ultimately h6 ends up being a useful move for black, so that's the reason we played first, but just a small nuance. And after this change, queen b3, knight takes. I might be asking how is this resembling a Dutch, but that's ultimately what Maroczy gets after f5. So he tries to convert this into a Dutch.
It's a Stonewall.
Yeah, he finally sets up the Stonewall position. And how sound do you think this is?
Well, that's hard, first of all, because I don't know anything about the Stonewall. I mean, I read a little bit about it in the book Chess Structures, that book. But I forget because it's been a while. I know that the bishop tends to make that pathway of the little snake-like pattern eventually. I believe I've read that. I guess one of the key differences between my game that we just looked at is that, well, there's no knight on c6, and because we have the Stonewall thing set up here, and so the knight is on d7 instead of c6. Maybe the knight fills in the holes. Maybe the knight fills in the holes that the black's pawns are, since we're on light squares here.
There are holes on dark squares, that's true. It's not the end of the world in that sense, because white doesn't have the dark square bishop. And sometimes it happens that white manages to trade off those bishops. And it's still playable for black. The secret is that this bishop, and this is what Kramnik used to say about this, the bishop, the white's light square bishop tends to be as bad as this one. Even though it doesn't seem like it, sometimes the bishop is just so restricted that it isn't definitely the greatest, even though it's supposed to be a good bishop. I mean, we have the majority of our pawns on dark squares. That's especially true when we develop it in with fianchetto. It's just staring at the brick wall for all game long, basically. So black may be able to, I don't know, he might not be dead. I'm definitely taking white. I don't see how this could be appealing for black, because white got the black's dark square bishop for nothing, basically. But it's still not that easy if black doesn't go really wrong, which is about to happen. Arakan just continues to play normal moves. What is the plan for white if black just goes on with the normal stuff like knight f6, for example?
Well, I was thinking maybe like c takes d4 and plant a queen on c7, or a bishop on b5, to try to, I don't know. I don't know if white wants to trade bishops here, because black's bishop is so bad. But then you said white's bishop can be kind of bad too. So but I don't know if white wants it. actually put effort into trading bishops. But I was thinking if maybe white just wants to get
That's
control.
unlikely. I mean, before these two face off, a long time is gonna pass. I mean, um,
Yeah, I was just
if
thinking
you
of
could trade
plans.
the bishop for the knight,
Yeah, well, I
you
thought the knight, but the knight. So I was thinking like if like c takes d5, c takes d5, bishop b5, the knight just runs to f6 and then to e4. But maybe just battering down on c7, so like getting white getting a queen on c7 and starting to just invade down, on the queen
that
side
would be
and.
fantastic. But normally, black needs to take with the e pawn
Mm,
for a number of reasons. One of them is that you can't allow just white to just
mm,
get control of the c file. It's going to be the only open file, and it will be in white's hands. So I'll make a random move for black. If c takes d, black at all times needs to take with the e pawn here and keep you away from the c file.
mm,
Else, he's dead. I mean, you clearly have the upper hand on the queen side, especially since the knight is already on this end. At least if he retained the opportunity to play knight c6, but no, here he's not fighting for the c file any longer, and you get access to all the dark squares on the queen side. That should be a disaster. After e takes, he gets a semi-open e file, nice outpost on e4 as always. More space on the king side thanks to that. So it's not that c takes d is unplayable, it's just that black at all times should be able to play e takes d. For example, if white wants to be sneaky, he might play something like queen c2, which is threatening c takes d, because if e takes d,
mm-hmm.
the pawn falls. And that tends to be pretty thematic in the Dutch. Black should try to find a way um, to keep his option open of taking with the e pawn, else he might be in trouble. Queen
G6
c2 might
maybe.
not be bad at all.
G,
Yeah, g6, and that's also a concession by black. Another pawn that moves in the same area of the king. I would much rather have uh, g6 in and be able to take back with the e pawn than, well, just having to take with the c pawn. That's terrible. Um, if I had to choose though, I may take, and after bishop takes, play e5. That's a pretty typical way
mm.
of getting rid of the
What about queen f6?
queen f6. Queen f6 also makes sense. I'm not a fan of
Oh yeah.
stepping away, but still, I would much rather play queen f6 than have to play g6.
Queen f7
Um,
then.
Queen f7. I like the concept of taking because one of black's ideas is eventually to be able to play e5, but you can't read. Normally, you can't do it with the pawn still on d5. Here you may, but no, you're still getting an isolated pawn in case you decide to trade everything and after c takes d. You always get some weak pawn, but you can take and play e5. That makes total sense. Um, but yeah, ultimately black always wants to take back with the e pawn. Um, Black went a little bit too far here, though. He played g5, which is sometimes a thing. You just start expanding where you have the space advantage. Um,
Mm-hmm.
and one of your main plans, or well, I didn't get to this, but it's just advancing the queenside pawns because you have the upper hand of the queenside. Clearly, you have two. You have these 2 pawns on the fourth rank. You have some space advantage. You know that if the queen side opens up, you have some leverage there. So just pushing the pawns on the queen side is fairly typical. B4, B5 break there. Um, but now black is doing his own thing. He's trying to attack too. Um, it's a very primitive attack, like g4, rook f6, rook g6, rook h6, and queen h4. I've seen this happen. I've suffered it many times, and it's like the caveman's approach to checkmating on the king side here.
There's that's a common like idea in the classical Dutch too.
Mhm. Oh, you play the classical, true, yeah.
Yeah.
I can find some effective plan against this. And he's gonna fight the center. How?
You want me to find a plan for white to fight
For
in the
white.
center? Okay.
What did I can do?
So it's tough. It's hard to come up with any ideas. I couldn't think of anything apart from at the very end here. I'm just, this might be crazy, but I'm just thinking if we move the knight somewhere and then play like f3 to try to break on e4. So like I don't know, maybe knight d2, and then f3 e4. I'm looking at, but I mean that could just be suicidal. So, but apart from that, I don't see how white is making inroads in the
Well, you
center.
don't need anything else because you're right. uh, 92, yeah, exactly. I can wait until black weaken his king's position because f5 g5 is extremely weakening, and there's not much against f3 4 really. And when that happens, and your game, the king was in the center. Here, the king is not in the center, but it's extremely open after having played f5 and g5. So that's a very tough scenario. if white gets if white gets to play f3 and e4, this king is gonna suffer. It will be way more open than yours. And with the pawn g7 might be a little bit different. You could argue that white's king is also kind of open after this. But with the pawn g5, black has gone way too far. So Arkan is ready to blow up the center. Um, and I know it looks like it takes a lot of time, but black is in kind of a similar situation. It has a lot of work to do on the queen side still. So we get the time to do
Very
this.
very awkward to develop. So, yeah.
Yeah, it's going to take
Well, I'm
forever.
happy I found the
Let's see.
plan.
Rook f7. Black seems to be tilting a little bit, honestly, because this is never gonna happen. F3. I know. This move tends to be terrible if you can't. I mean, e5. Sorry, I almost made the move, but only I could see it. I didn't make the arrow. E5. Normally you need to take first, but here if you take bishop takes and you can't play e5 regardless. So he played e5 right away. Now what's the problem?
Oh god, I hate it when there's all these pawn moves. Like, what's the problem for
tension.
black here? Okay, I was looking at Queen C8. Doesn't work though. So don't, I had to look at it. Um,
There's a reason why black, sorry, wants to take on c4 before playing e5, normally.
well, we white could take on D5, and then there's Queen C7. But I don't. Yeah. So like maybe CD Queen C7, and then I don't know if no. Well,
CD gives you some leverage because this pawn will always be weak. That's a candidate to become an isolated pawn at any point. And that's why normally in a structure like this, and this all, that doesn't happen only here, it happens in the semi slab, for example, that when you're going to break on e5, you tend to take on c4 first, because if you play e5 right away, then white gets the option of giving you an isolated queen's pawn on d5, and one that could be pretty weak, especially considering how the black's pieces are completely uncoordinated here. um, yeah, Queen C7, you still kind of have to be careful about E takes D because there's a threat of Queen E3 check attacking, well, pretty much everything. Um, so the next move was Arkane's main idea against E5. Let's see what White plays here.
these types of positions are so hard for me.
Just focus on this guy because the king is, and your king is gonna be much safer if everything opens up.
I'm looking at E4 here.
Very principled.
I hate these
E4.
pawn. Oh, it's so hard when all these pawns are like this. Such a headache.
Thing is, yeah, but best he's getting some trades, and he's not trading queens, which is important. And you, after f takes, you really have it under control, especially since his rook is disconnected from the king side. So that looks very hard for black. F takes, F takes. He takes your rook. Your rook gets to f1, and he can't really battle against that because he's not able to get the rook to f8. So you already know you're getting the rook on the f file.
And
If he takes on e4 one more time, you get the knight to e4, and that's terrifying.
and G5 is
um,
looking really silly now.
yeah, yeah. You don't even try to get the structural advantage. It's just going after this king. And with the pawn g7 might be completely different, but I can saw that, yeah, the king being its post, if I play f3, 4, too many black pawns are way too advanced. And that's a fairly typical in the thing in the Dutch because you play a 5 on move 1, so uh, it's only natural that sometimes you might get your king exposed even if it's not uh, right in the center. And in the Dutch, when black gets really behind development, it's it's hard to realize because you see the position and it's in the stone wall. I mean, it's completely closed, or it looks like it is at least. But black needs so much time to unravel that sometimes white is able to play f3, 4, and black doesn't even have the time to counter it. And what once was a very close position is after a few moves uh, just about to blow up, as it happened here. F takes, rook takes with check, rook takes, and black took on d4. Now what would you play? This one's important. It was a nice trick.
I'm looking at could be way off here, but I'm looking at queen b3 or queen c5 as well. Oh, sorry, not queen c5. Queen a5. I'm looking at those two moves: queen b3 and queen a5.
I like the concept. Like, would you take? Why wouldn't you take? That's my main.
Well, because you asked me, so it must not be the obvious move. So I was looking, but okay. So why not look at it? Well, he can force a trade of queens, and then we don't want to trade queens here. So he's got queen c5.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And he equalizes. It's funny because you have to take, and after knight takes, he attacks the bishop and the pawn, and there's a lot of trades coming in. So suddenly he's more or less fine. Um, so yeah, he didn't play queen a5. I don't know. I don't know about the value of any of these moves, like queen a5, knight b6. I feel like you still can't take because there's a check and d3 is hanging. And queen b3, queen b3 is interesting. I think black has a nice solution against queen b3. He manages to unravel, I think, at least.
Or just knight c5.
Nice e5, that's very strong. Queen takes d5 with check.
Bishop e6.
Good. And we have everything hanging. The queen, the bishop, and if queen takes d4,
I know we can take on d3, but it doesn't seem.
You can prove on that.
Yeah, yeah. So okay, I'm losing the position. So queen b3, knight c5, queen takes d5, bishop e6, queen takes d4. Um. Oh, can we bring in our last piece? Rook d8.
Yeah, I think that's it. That bishop is gone. Yeah, queen b3 is instructive. I mean, for a mere pawn, black gets all his pieces out and with tempo. Knight c5, check, bishop e6. So black solves everything just for that pawn, and if queen takes d4, well, you even lose the bishop on d3. Well, I think you're losing it anyway because this is being threatened. So, and there are no other squares for the queen. Queen takes d4, rook d8, and let's move. That one's gone. So yeah, but you're right in that if queen takes d4, black manages to trade queens and he's off the hook incredibly. If queen takes knight takes c5, he can attack the bishop. This one's ready to be brought to his seats, and suddenly he's okay out of nowhere. Arakan did preserve the queens, except he just went queen c7, and he's not even interested in getting the pawn back. It's not going to be relevant. I mean, this is black's extra pawn, and it's just not completely inconsequential. The thing is, black can't move.
No, that's a very nice suffocating move. It just makes black want to resign. It's saying to black, you have nothing.
Yeah, position is just terrible. And he decided to blow everything up after g5. That g5 is going to make black lose the game immediately. Almost.
There's 10 viewers watching right now, and ZCH Hansen guessed queen c7. So good job, Hansen.
Nice.
Yeah.
Not the easiest move.
No, I would never think of that ever.
So black is completely losing. He kept trying for a few moves. He played king g7, rook f5, really encouraging black to take so we can play knight takes c4 finally, which happened. And something's gotta give, and this is just terrible. I don't know why he didn't play h6 though, because at least it's the most stubborn, I guess. He played queen before and just let go of this pawn. After check, he resigned because the king is basically on its own. But if h6, well, at least still trying, I guess. The engine, I mean, I had this in the notation to the game. The engine suggested rook f2. It's an engine move. Just to avoid queen e3 check. It's very nice. Your threat is just simply knight e6 with, well, more threats than black can really stop. I mean, knight f5, knight takes c8, rook f7, everything is a threat. And there's no queen e3 check, which was black's resource. So a very cool, quiet move, but it's not the only one to win either. In the game, queen b4, rook takes g5, black.
That's more, that's more Alekhine's style there. Yeah.
Yeah, no need for subtleties anymore, and that's it. But yeah, what looked like a virtual fortress. I mean, after g5, Alekhine decided, well, black went a bit too far, and now he's ready to blow up the center. That's a pretty normal risk for black because of the presence of the pawn on f5, and e4 can be very strong if black is not well prepared to fight in the center against this.
And that's the typical thing that look out for when I'm playing the classical Dutch too is to not let white play e4 and to try to play e5 myself. Because that's the dream is to get that's why like d6 you try to get e5 in. Like the dream is to get pawns on f5 and e5. Yeah.
Exactly. Yeah. Once you get that set up, it went well. Let's go through this other one. Another Alekhine.
And another Alekhine, of course.
This one is against Marshall.
I like Marshall though. I like his style. He's
very straightforward guy. Extremely aggressive.
Mm-hmm.
The opening is funny. I mean, 94. There you go. It was original. We can't say he wasn't. Maybe with the plan of f5 and bishop before. Hard to tell because Alekhine does.
It's like he skipped a couple steps. It's very funny.
Yeah, no, I know in modern chess there are some quick 94s, but this may be a bit.
Yeah, no, that's funny.
Yeah, and I can place along. He also plays a weird move here, knight fd2, instead of just playing e3 or I don't know, at least knight b2 d2 or something. I guess the reason is that now f5 makes absolutely no sense. But well, bishop b4. The opening was weird, but we're gonna get the structure we wanted anyway, so that's fine. Instead, I can took this time around. F takes c. The opening is really not that important. It's not that any of the two played anything relevant, or even they didn't play that well, honestly. But it's the structure what we care about, because this is something that happens sometimes. White takes on e4, black takes 2, and again at some point white will probably want to play f3, get rid of the e4 pawn, and then push e4 himself, and that's the general plan. And black needs to be prepared. Else, if the center blows up again, he's the one with more weaknesses, a likely backward pawn on e6.
It's funny though for black in the Dutch. The queen side is always neglected in terms of development. There's like in the classical like main lines. Sometimes the knight and the bishop don't ever move like into like. Yeah, so and you kind of see that here too. Although they just played knight d7 now, but like if you just compare this position to white, black did castle, but still just funny because black has no pieces developed.
Yeah, and it's still risky for black if the center opens up because of that. It's interesting because you see the queen side. It's underdeveloped. So what? Yeah, if the position opens up, those pieces need to be active, or else white just has the upper hand clearly. A3, this is kind of an instructive mistake. I don't know if a3, mistake might be too strong of a word, but the bishop is not doing anything on b4, and clearly black doesn't want to take. Why push it back?
Yeah, exactly.
I don't understand. Castles, well, bishop g5. Well, there you go. Marshall wasn't maybe the most positionally aware player. This is very strange. It's also true that it has to be difficult to make a move with black here. And playing this with black is just. And what's your plan? White clearly is going for something like b4, b5. And he opens up the queen side. What will black do? So maybe this reaction is just because he wants to get the pieces to the queen side somehow and attack. But I can just faces him with f3. Here's where the fun begins. So bishop takes f4.
Yeah. I was just looking. It's such a weird. Okay. Yeah.
He takes. And if he takes rook takes, well, the structure is favorable. We're going to play against this backward pawn or
Mm-hmm.
semi-open file, but
No,
maybe black needs
I'm
to
thinking
play
rook f4.
rook takes. That's what happened again. And f takes. And here we go again. We managed to break on e4 while black is severely underdeveloped. The center is about to blow up. So it seems to be going well. But Marshall comes up with a very nice plan. He takes on f1. It has to be acknowledged that this was very creative by him because it looks horrible. And it is, to some extent, it is. If he takes, white can take with whatever he wants. Queen takes maybe. And this pawn is extremely weak. The dark squares are a disaster for black. This bishop is going nowhere. And white is fully mobilized. I mean, all
Mm-hmm.
his pieces are well placed. But Marshall comes up with e5, creating a mess out of this. So, what's the idea if d takes e, for example?
I'm looking at the first move that comes to mind is d4.
Nice.
Just segmenting those pawns that he can swoop in on the like he can always recapture an e5 on the following move. And then he can play c5. So
exactly. And the knight on e5 will be a monster after that.
Mm-hmm.
So I can just place queen d2, a very cool move. He's just keeping everything together because he knows if all of this disappears somehow, he definitely has the upper hand. So c5 was played, and well, you said you hate.
I hate that. Yeah, it's so many.
This is the worst you can get.
Yeah, so many. Well, no, four and four pawns you can do.
Four and four. Yeah.
Yeah, just so many permutations. It's just always hard for me to calculate. It's especially when there's pieces around, like the knights can jump in there.
Now he takes on e5. This. I love this game because Arkan really knows he has a great grasp.
Okay, so still d4.
Yeah, still d4. And here Arkan comes up with a very nice concept. Queen f4. Letting go of the knight. It's not that knight d5 is unplayable. And it might be better for white, but after knight takes e5, the knight is really good. And black does have a plan. He wants to trade the bishop for the knight and keep an excellent knight versus not such an excellent bishop. And after queen f4, this time there's queen d6, and black has all of this defended somehow. And it's still messy. This is not an easy position for any of.
But that's a beautiful knight though for black.
Yeah. And Arkan felt like he could get more than this, probably. And he went queen f4, which is, it has to be calculated really well. I don't know how far he saw. He probably saw.
Depends how much he was drinking.
Yeah. He played intuitively while drinking. And it went well. I mean, but I think he saw the main point here. D takes c, check, king h8. And it's not checkmate. There's a knight there still. But the main point is that none of these pieces can move. The knight can't move. Knight takes e5, checkmate.
E6 is a threat.
So what now? Do we play e6 or not?
That would definitely be my move in a bullet game. Let me see. We are down a piece though, so we got to be careful here. E6, there's knight f6, and that looks a little awkward. Then there's e7, queen g8. No, sorry, can't go there.
Yeah, you can. And so why
No.
not E6, knight f6, E7, queen G8? That's right.
Oh,
You don't have
okay,
any other
okay.
squares.
Okay, sorry. So let me do that again. So e6, knight f6, queen g8.
E6, knight f6, E7. And then
E7,
queen
E7,
G8.
knight f6, queen g8. Yeah. And then I'm thinking rook takes f6.
Good. You have to
Remove the
face that
defender
one.
of e8. Yeah. And then that. I'm losing the thread there. So rook takes f6. I don't know. That just seems over.
Seems like it, but black has some tactical tricks, and it all has to do with the fact that this pawn is alive on c3, and that's a problem for
Oh
white.
God, I forgot about that guy. Okay, so sorry. So let me think. What was my last move? Oh yeah, rook takes f6. Really, that pawn's going to do something? So okay, so
First, we have to solve the very direct threat
there's a
of queen
mate.
takes, king takes, and mate. Yeah. First, gotta solve that.
Okay, so if queen f7, rook f7, but then there's another. Oh no, then the knight. No wait, sorry. There's no knight. But then there's a mate threat there. So I don't know how we are stopping that. King g8?
Yeah, in case of rook, queen takes, rook takes, you're
Yeah.
in trouble because both e8 and rook f8 are threats, and you
Yeah, so
can't
king
stop
g8.
both. King g8,
Yeah.
mate.
No, well, king g8. Oh, we still have the bishop there. Yeah.
That's the main the main issue there. The bishop is still on c8. So instead of queen takes f7, go back a little bit and think about a move to solve that problem.
Oh, I'm really having trouble keeping track of this. Okay, well, there's g takes f6. But then he can promote to a queen.
Yeah, exactly. His pawn is on e7 already.
Yeah.
G takes f6, he can even take with check, and queen g7 promote with checkmate.
Okay, I wonder if we somehow have time. So going back to your hint before, what if I go c? No, wait, c2. He's still threatening to just take on g8. So, well, what else would we have? Let me think. So I'm in the position after rook takes f6.
Queen is on g8, and the bishop is in the way, so you have to think of.
Yeah, I know. You keep giving me
that.
the spoon feeding me the moves.
But where? It's not so easy.
Okay, let me just think. So if I go bishop d7, I'm just curious. So I'm just going to say bishop d7. Although, first of all, he could just take on. No, but then I could take the rook. Oh, it's so complicated. Okay, but so bishop d7. My brain is going to explode. But bishop d7, because I'm already in the middle of a calculation. But bishop d7, and then first of all, I'm concerned about. I wouldn't need to be concerned. So queen g8, queen takes g8, there wouldn't be a problem because I could just take with the rook or the king, and I've got that back rank covered. Well, probably I take with the king there. Yeah, I need to take with the king there. So I think that would be okay. Okay, so let's say bishop d7 and then queen takes d7. Well, if that happens, then I could probably just take the rook. Then g takes f6.
But there's a pawn he's saying you can't take here.
Oh my god. Okay. Okay. So so bishop d7, and then
You're really threatening to take the rook, so
queen f8, queen f8.
F8 and g takes.
It's hard to visualize that. Yeah, I don't have a good solution. It seems to be fine for black.
It is, and white has to scramble to get a draw there. It was premature. It wasn't easy to calculate, but it was premature. It looks so good. But problem is the pawn is still alive. That's a big problem. E7, queen g8, very good on finding all this quickly because it's the only way. And the only way to put pressure is this move. Rook takes f6. There's also queen takes, king takes, rook takes f6, which is very similar as we're going to see. But bishop d7 here works perfectly fine. I think that there's also, if I'm not mistaken, bishop g4. And there are many moves that are kind of a mess. Bishop e6, just because this pawn is...
Bishop g4. Bishop g4. Queen f8? Queen f8, h6, maybe?
Queen f8 threatened, though.
Yeah, that's the thing. Yeah, he just plays h6 or something. Yeah, it doesn't quite work, eh? Okay.
I think one point is bishop takes or g takes f6 this time.
It's weird that bishop g4 shouldn't work. It seems like white should be winning here, but okay. So if bishop g4, let's say c2. Is there really nothing there for white?
This loses, I think. This loses to g takes f, I think. And the pawn is top. This one's alive still. The queen's...
Oh, yeah. But wouldn't c2 also work, though?
Which one, sorry?
Like bishop g4, c2. What would white do?
Maybe this works. I'm only worried about queen takes and rook f1.
So bishop g4, c2, queen takes g8, king g8,
yeah, king.
And then rook f1?
Yeah, stopping there. White can only save himself in one way in this position. It's just crazy. He has to take. He absolutely needs to take. And black also has to be extremely careful because if you take with the rook, there's rook f8 threatening check, followed by queen checkmate. So the only way is king takes. And here white has to find this move. It's the only way to make the draw happen. which is of course insanely hard because if c2 or pretty much anything, rook d8 is coming, followed by e8. Like c2 check, king f7, and we promote with check, so that can't be it. So black has to play king f7 instead, and then what?
Is this what happened in the game?
No,
Okay.
it didn't. Now white is barely in time to take the pawn.
Well, hang on. I was just looking at rook d8 though. I was just thinking about rook d8. I guess the problem is black can promote with check. No, still that's interesting though. No. Yeah, rook d8 though. Isn't rook d8
Black to play and win now. Yeah, now he wins. Again, it's all about this guy.
Wonder if bishop d7. Yeah, bishop d7, rook d7. But then the rook can go back and defend after. No, but there's c2. Then it can't. So bishop d7, rook d7, c2.
True. Bishop d7 he might take. I think that's the... He has the time to take. And then you have the same problem. So black's only problem is e8 queen. That's it. If you solve that, your pawn is promoting and...
Okay, so we just take it.
We just take.
Yeah, okay.
Take c7. Ouch. And c2. If rook takes a8, c2, nothing to stop that pawn with, so it's over. And of course, it's just insane the amount of things to calculate here. After bishop g4, queen takes, king takes, rook d6 threatens check, followed by e8, king f7. White can take and keep the balance, because if bishop takes, there's rook d8 and black loses that rook, and bishop takes it should be a bad mistake.
Oh God, there's so many lines to calculate here. The bishop g4 was already just an idea.
Yeah. But after b takes c, king takes c7 just in time, attacking the rook, rook d2, and this should be a draw with best play. I mean, black is down a pawn, but white's pawns are just horrible. So yeah, the logical outcome in the end should be a draw, which is crazy. So Arkane's conclusion, I mean, I don't know if he saw everything, if he saw some part of it, but just by intuition, there's a problem with that pawn on c3. I mean, there are so many lines where black can give up some material and play c2. By the way, your bishop d7 was totally fine too. There's always the problem that this one is advancing or taking on b2. So Arkane just took, just quietly down a piece.
No more headache.
Yeah. Just take some.
Yeah, keep your life simple.
Exactly. It doesn't really matter. Exactly, because black is going nowhere. And those pieces, yeah, he's up a piece, but how is he supposed to unravel? He can't move the knight. He gets checkmated on the back rank. So that's not an option. And
this is funny because
that being the case,
there's some lines in the Caro-Kann Tartakower, which this reminds me of, right? Because the knight is on d7, the bishop's on c8. And then sometimes when, I mean, it's a weird opening comparison, but this can happen in some, like the structure, the pawn structure is a little bit different, but I've had similar things happen in the Tartakower lines.
Where these two are hard to...
Yeah. And also the king gets just attacked. If you're curious, like I'll just show you. I mean, it's a bit of a stretch to compare the two, but and so if we do this, and then here G6H4 knight D7, and so you can kind of see some of the similarities now. H5 and I'm just trying to, let's say Queen C7 takes, and actually if I put on, I'm gonna throw on the engine, Queen B3, and if knight, oh sorry, he's in check. So if after the king moves in, the queen comes in. But it's similar though, right? Is it not similar? It's the pawns are different, but
on this head and everything.
But the point is that the king is kind of separated by, like, this is all kind of congested, and the knight and the bishops are in the same position, and the king is kind of by itself, and the queen comes in. I know it's not exactly the same, but I don't know. It reminded me of that. If we jump back to your position here, sorry, was it here?
It's around.
Oh no,
here.
I'll let you jump. Yeah. Right, it's similar looking.
Yeah, because the knight is actually hurting all the pieces. It's not just about the knight not being able to participate, but what about this?
Yeah. It's
you can't move any of the pieces. Just this knight is the one to blame, and black played Queen G8, and white still refused to exchange or anything. It just keeps playing Queen E7 back and forth, and now it might be threatening some e6. Maybe not yet, because knight f6 is still annoying.
Marshall would really hate this position because he's, he likes to attack. So
yeah, this is not him, definitely not to his taste. And yeah, it's basically in Zugzwang. He played h6, and instead of e6, knight f6, which is still kind of hard because the pawn is falling. I can just game up with bishop h5. He's just infiltrating everywhere with black, being completely unable to do anything. a5. This is how tied down he is. E6. And yeah, it's totally resignable. I mean, if he plays knight f6, there's bishop f7. And if queen h7, if we give a check, he still has knight g8. But if we take first, then we threaten check, queen g8 checkmate. So nothing to do really. Knight f6 was.
And the rook and the bishop never moved all game.
Yeah, I think the bishop. Let me check that. Oh, he moves just to resign late. One move later. After e takes d, bishop takes. There it is.
He just wanted to move the bishop first, so that.
And then after rook f7, he resigns because there's nothing against. Oops, sorry. Queen f6, mate. So yeah, he gave out here, but
so I'm
kind of reminded.
I'm thinking back to when Alekhine sacked the knight on that was on c3, I believe.
Here.
But he's but I mean, that's so complicated though. I mean, like I would just play knight d5. I mean, even knowing all of that, even knowing all of that. I know you told me.
I can unravel the pieces.
I know, but white still has to play very accurately though with the with this queen f4 line.
Yeah, what I assume is that he might have seen that at least he has a draw, which is always a nice safety net.
Yeah.
Because even the worst case scenario is that white doesn't have enough and he just has to accept the draw. So he might have calculated some lines so that black had some trouble unraveling, that he had draw at hand, and then, let's go for it.
Do you know what time controls they played in the 30s here?
What, sorry?
What time controls they played in the 1930s here?
Not really. I assume that they were very long.
Yeah, I know, yeah. Like
at the beginning of the
8-hour games.
Easily, yeah. Well, they had to postpone games and continue playing the next day or
Yeah.
so. That one is actually a nice question. For example, what was the time control for Ark and Capablanca?
Yeah. I'm sure it's there. I mean, I'm sure it's documented somewhere.
Yeah, it has to be.
I wonder if there's any games where they kept track of the time, like on each move. That would be great. Thanks for the sub, Chess Raptor. Okay, that's something that I always kind of consider. Like a lot of these old games, they have this advantage in that the games were much longer than they are now, and of course the correspondence. So, like move 41. Did they? But they didn't always do it on move 40, right? Because they could. You can choose, right? After move 40, you can choose what move you want to actually adjourn it. Sorry, not correspond. Adjournment.
Yeah, you like wrote it down on a piece of paper and they'll put it in an envelope.
Yeah, but it's not always move 40. It's after.
Oh, not necessarily.
Yeah.
I think they had like a time limit. I mean, the games are going to be played till this time, and then, well, wherever the game is at, it has to be adjourned right on the move, and let's go home.
No, but I thought you could choose. I thought you could choose.
At time control, there was a choice to.
Well, I it might have been Zerk 1953 when it might have been Bronstein that was writing. I read it somewhere where after like a certain move, he was deciding like if he wanted to adjourn it yet, like but he wanted to play a few more moves to adjourn it later. So I'm curious. I don't know all those rules.
No, neither.
Okay.
There might be a choice at time control, like when you cross time control, and then there had to be a limit, because they kept getting more time as they reached different time controls. Like it would never end. It was insane.
Yeah.
And they didn't have increment.
Yeah, but there was increment on the mechanical clocks.
Yeah, I don't know if they.
It wasn't a common thing though, but they did. But I'm just saying they did exist.
There was a mechanism.
Yeah, when I was doing research for the book, yeah, they did do that eventually. But that was, I mean, it was Fisher that patented that, right?
The Fisher clock.
Yeah. So that was already in the 70s when they did it. But I'm pretty sure there was increment. It's on the mechanical clocks. They had to hire like some special like Swiss watchmakers to put that in. Yeah.
Come up with it.
Yeah.
Well, if you have some time, I just want to discuss something about this game. Very quick.
This name sounds familiar. I must have played them or maybe a couple days ago. I think. Yeah. Okay. Another Dutch. Oh.
And you.
Oh yeah. So this is like basically it's like a Hopton, right? Because Bishop G5, an early Bishop G5.
Yeah, and you do get a similar structure to
the other game.
Just Stonewall.
That was strange. I didn't even play Knight C6. Yeah, that was really weird. He probably just didn't know what to do against the Dutch. But that's so weird, right? A3, what's the point of that?
Yeah, I pass. That's move that doesn't make a difference. 94, well, you get some trades in, you're fine probably. But he takes 24. That was kind of surprising. I wonder why you didn't take with the F-pound, which is like the most natural way.
I remember I was like eeny, meeny, miny, mo. I couldn't really decide, and then Yeah, I think ultimately I felt the open or the semi-open F file might make it easier for me to attack because I can do. I mean, I guess I would be able to do a rook lift either way. Um,
Yeah, something like that is bound, like this is bound to happen, I think, and must be fine. Must be fine for you. I don't think you have a problem here. These two are going to disappear. Then, um, yeah, even though you have the bad bishop, so to speak, his knight is not awesome either. I
I
mean,
think what it
it's
was
just weird.
is because because I took it was a D pawn, right? I think it was again I couldn't really decide, but I think I didn't want him to play C4. I was unsure about C4 if I take with the F pawn, and yeah.
Now, I'm sure this is still fine. You can't be in trouble or anything, except at this point. 97, this is all very natural. You make that knight disappear. That's good. Now e5. This is a very interesting position mistake.
Oh, this game. Oh, this was so annoying. Oh, I was so annoyed about this game, Alessandro, because I it was so weird. It's like it felt like I did nothing wrong and then I lost against this 1900. And it was it's so frustrating. I remember I played this on stream and I was like, what's the big deal? Like, what did I do wrong? I think it might have been this E5 move. And then all of a sudden I'm worse and then I just lose. And it's one of the most frustrating types of losses is when you don't really understand why you lost or you just make one tiny little seemingly small mistake and then you just lose. Yeah, this is a frustrating one because it's like I didn't really learn anything from it. So I'm glad you added it here.
Well, problem is you're giving him a lot of dark squares while you keep a just ridiculously bad bishop. At least with the pawn d4, he doesn't have the open d5. He doesn't have the d4 square. Once you play e5 and these 2 pawns disappear, he has total control of the dark squares, and you can do nothing. Your bishop is just as bad as it used to be. But your opponent has access to a lot more squares. He doubles up on the d file. It's so annoying. You have no targets, and he has everything.
So
And
can
that's
you,
a problem. I
so I hear what you're saying, but I don't understand what you're saying. Because you're saying that he'll have more control over the dark squares. I thought I was answering all of those things with my move e5. I thought I'm trying to dig out I'm trying to carve out some space for my bad bishop, and I thought I'm reducing some of his dark square control. So I thought I'm doing everything the opposite of what you just said.
Well, apparently not, because for one thing, he gets the open d5 immediately, and he's in better conditions than you to fight for it. E5, he castle queens, he gets a rook on d4, and your bishop when he sits is, well, maybe slightly better than it is here. That's true, but it has no targets. You have nothing to threaten him with, and that's a very big problem. I would much rather have you wait for him castle queens and then throw b5 before c5 even. But after this, it's remarkable how
Yeah, this was
you
so
don't have
annoying.
any
This was so
it's
annoying analyzing this game after.
everything's coming and you don't have any resources against it. You should probably just push your queenside pawns and
Hope for the best.
yeah, yeah, because now the access to d4, maybe even f4 after some maneuvers, it's just incredibly annoying. With this, I mean, here it might sound strange, but the fact that the center is a little bit more closed actually favors the bishop because the knight doesn't have anywhere to go. And the d file is closed, so you don't have to worry about that. Your bishop is definitely not a target, at least. It's remarkable how after e5 he just gets in the driver's seat. All his pieces are fantastic. The queen is coming, and your bishop is just hitting blanks here. It's just doing nothing on this diagonal, even though it looks fine. Um, and yeah, I mean, it might not be losing, but it's so annoying. You just have to defend so awkwardly.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, look at that. uh, F5 is a pro. You're really overextended here, and you're just on light squares, um, and you can't change that fact. It's really problematic. Oh, you traded first. He sits queen e5, and yeah, you're just gonna be defending for a long time. I know it's hard to understand, but yeah, when the positions open, the position opens up here, and you have these bishops staring at nowhere. Well, he gets space for all his pieces, and he just can infiltrate through dark squares, and and yeah, you're right. It's just a very tiny positional mistake
Mm.
that just gives you a practically undefendable position because I checked out the engine. I thought you might be losing already. It said +1. Okay, it makes sense. You're not dropping anything immediately, but in practice, I think it's close to losing. He can
Mm.
torture you forever here, and it's almost impossible not to blunder something at some point. Um, oh, you even managed to trade the rooks. This was quite good, but even here, it's so hard to defend.
Yeah, my
You have
bishop
to,
is just useless, completely useless.
yeah. Even if you stay put, it's just too hard. Um, but yeah, I thought it was a very very interesting positional mistake that gave you a very hard position to defend without having done anything
Oh,
that
I hate
terrible.
games like
Honestly,
that so much because it's like, yeah, like it's not a huge. It's not like I blundered a queen or something, but it, it's just it's not a big. It didn't feel, as you say, it didn't feel like a big mistake, but ultimately, I guess it was.
yeah, practically it was with and the problem is, yeah, you're playing for two results. Either you make a very hard fought draw or you lose because it's you're just defending all the time without any chance for counterplay. I mean, again, light squares are completely irrelevant. Your bishop is staring at a void, and he can maneuver all he wants through the dark squares, and eventually it's more likely that you will blunder than anything. I mean, it's just too easy to make a mistake. Not even a blunder. I mean, some other minor mistake, and your position gets even harder to defend, and so on. But yeah, I thought it was a very instructive
Oh
mistake
yeah, I
on
think I
e5.
remember.
No doubt.
Ultimately, um, I let his queen like win a pawn, something like this, in a few moves from now. I
Here,
think.
yeah,
Or
check,
next move.
queen
Okay.
e7, queen f4. Oh, here. Yeah, when you
Oh
go
yeah,
back,
no, there's
check, and
queen
you.
b8, which he didn't play, but then I screw up. Did he play it?
Yeah, only now.
Oh, okay.
And then you, I don't know what happened
Oh,
to
I
your
just
queen f4.
tilted. I just.
But yeah, very interesting stuff.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I'm sure it happens to you too. Isn't it annoying though, that type of loss? I would much rather like drop a piece out of some missed tactic, even if it's a basic fork or something. Then it's like, okay, I can accept that. But to lose like
Yeah,
from.
games where you play with, yeah, acceptably well, and still you just drift towards the world's position, you lose. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
Happen.
yeah, and yeah, but uh, so just to summarize that game again, or like the mistake, it's really that I opened up the position when my position was already kind of poor, and my bishop didn't really have any prospects. Is
Yeah, what I would say is that your bishop is not improving as much as you maybe thought it would, while he gets access to some squares that he didn't have and to some lines that he didn't have. For example, the open file was, well, up for grabs for him, basically. His knight could be improved suddenly. And your bishop is not that much better on e6, which is curious, but it's true. In this close position, though, this knight isn't that happy. I mean, on c3, we'll have to maneuver a lot to find a decent square. He doesn't have access to d5. He has nothing on. on e4. If he wants to play f3, your bishop will suddenly be a little bit better. So it's not like white is thriving here or anything,
So
even though you have.
so this is your game right now. What would your plans be here?
It's tough to suggest a move. That much is true. I might play a move like rook a b8
Just go
and
b5,
just
b4.
tell me. Yeah, exactly. Just asking white, okay, what are you
Mm,
gonna do about this?
mm,
That or something like rook fc8. So I might go c5. Who knows?
mm.
But yeah, e5 surprisingly gives him access to squares that he didn't have, and he's gonna be more active than you. So yeah, that was problematic. Um, Very interesting because it's not obvious at all. But once you see the result and
Yeah, no,
these are
yeah,
so
yeah. It's
strong,
just
not
like
squares,
it's just
yeah.
crazy how quickly it just slips away once e5 is played. It seems like it's not a big deal, but wow, it just
Mm.
again because it's not like I made egregious mistakes like after e5. Like I think I played okay, but then it just it's like the game just kind of plays itself. Like after
Yeah,
e5.
it's too hard for black. Too hard. You
Mm,
have to find the exact move just not to lose. It's too much.
mm. Yeah, that was the most frustrating loss I've had in a while. Um,
Happens from time to time.
yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, thank you again, Alessandro, for the lesson. We had some good viewers today. There was,
Yes,
yeah,
but yeah.
it dipped down a little bit, but actually, it just hit 100 views as I said that. So, um,
Awesome.
yeah, not bad. It's kind of funny. The longer the stream went on, the more pixelated your camera went. So like it's very low resolution now. It's like 640 by
It barely
480.
hung in there.
Yeah, yeah. But yeah, I'll let you go. I know it's late there. So thank you again. And
Thanks,
I guess
Daniel.
I'll wish you. I won't see you until next year sometime. So
Oh, true. Yeah.
yeah,
Happy
so
New Year.
have a good New Year, and we'll stay in touch.
Thanks a lot,
Okay,
Tyler. See you
thank you.
next week.
Bye.
Bye bye.
I'll be right back. Just give me 30 seconds here. Ah, okay. Still adjusting a few things as I always have to do after I do the kind of the dual stream there. A lot of technical things going on in the background. So just taking care of that. Oh, it's weird to take off my headphones. Everything is echoey now. Okay, so I've got that set up. How about this? Okay, that's good. Okay. I'm just going to hit the bathroom and then I'm going to get back to, I'm going to do some puzzle streak and then I might fit in a game if I have the energy. So I'll be back in a few minutes here. Okay, so whoops. Whoa, I got a few subscribers on that during the stream. So I am going to do Puzzle Streak as I always do at the beginning of my stream, but started with the chess lesson today. So thank you again to Alessandro Manzone, my coach. Yeah, so I'm going to do Puzzle Streak of 39. Okay, where was I here? So I try to talk at the same time here. This is a mate in 2. Yeah, I have not been sleeping well, and I've been trying to get back on track. I've been making progress on getting back on track. I'm setting my alarm to wake up a little bit earlier every day, but I'm still in that adjustment period. So I'm very groggy. I'm surprised I made it through the lesson. Bishop g7, there's knight g7, but then the queen can slip in here and deliver mate. There's a fork, and this is a mate in 2, and this should be mate in 3 here. Oh, thank you for the sub, Fat Soul. Welcome. And we're getting close to 1400, and 1400. Oh no, 1410 was my number. Yeah, if 1410 sub, I was going to register to this tournament. Although, did I say by the 27th? That's tomorrow. So yeah, I guess I won't hit that. I might extend that though. Maybe I'll make it 29th. It has to be soon because I would have to book my Airbnb and register to the tournament and everything. Okay, so anyways, if we give a rook check, we have a fork, so that's mined, that's illegal. And so after rook f1, king c2 is forced, essentially. I think we're just going to give a check here, and we'll be up a pawn. And our king is better, so that should be winning. Okay. So we can utilize that pin to win. And can't we just promote? Yeah, our bishop is covering his queening square. So we give a bunch of checks, and then we come back and mate. That'll be the final move, because this rook is protected by the pawn. We have a bishop check. Isn't this mate? This is just a mate in 1? Am I blind? It's just a mate in 1. Okay. So we are black. We have this fork. That's good enough for me. I'm slightly concerned. No, we're fine. We just go in front. Okay, this is a mate in 3. 1, 2, 3. Okay, so check looks good. So if takes, he can't stop promotion. And well, otherwise I'm just taking his rook here. So we just take the rook, and then we'll be up a piece. We're white. It's getting cold here now. Oh, I can just take the rook. I didn't even see that. So we just take on d4. He's threatening mate here. So let's say he moves the king to e7. All I need... actually, no, we're protected against mate. I mean, that should be good enough. Do I really need to calculate beyond that? Then I can probably, can I go here? No. Take. That's not enough. So queen d4, king e7. Oh, we can trade off queens here. And it's still not quite clear on the continuation there, though. But you would think, yeah, you would think that would be good. If he, okay, what if he offers to trade queens, then we take the knight. Whoops, almost mouse slipped. If he blocks with the knight, then bishop g7 might be good. Okay, I'm going to take, and then, yeah, so here I was thinking bishop g2. I mean, not bishop g7, but bishop g2. If he goes rook g8, oh, that doesn't work. I was going to promote. Maybe I could under promote to a knight. Yeah, bishop g2, rook g8, possibly an under promotion. Yeah, that's tricky though. Shouldn't be this tricky. I feel so bloated. I've been eating so unhealthily lately. I don't know about the knight check. Knight check, king moves somewhere. But then my rook gets in. Maybe he can just attack it even. I'm not so certain about that. If that is bishop g2. Okay, I'm gonna play bishop g2. This isn't the best. Yeah, it ends there. So if rook g8, it doesn't want to under promote, but also rook c6 is apparently good. And then under promoting again, because then we can take the queen. Oh, that's kind of nice actually. Yeah, I don't like this puzzle though. This is an underrated puzzle. This is rated 1400, and no, that's the first down vote of the day. Just because it's underrated. So anyways, here we have a check on h3, and then I can give another check. He can't take with the knight because his queen will be hanging, so he has to go back to g1, and then what? Yeah, so I'm not certain about that. Actually, I'm sorry. It's so freaking simple. That was pathetic. Okay. So can I give a pawn check? And then he has one move as far as I can see. And then this is just a mate and two. I'm doing these a lot slower than I should be. Okay, so rook e1. His only reasonable move is king f8. And then we can win the bishop. That's probably good enough for me. Because our pieces are all active. Well, for the most part, the knight is not so great. But for me, that's good enough. Yeah, and then I'm just going to take the... Yeah, okay. So, equal material. Our queen is under attack, so I think I just desperado it on... Oh, it's not a desperado technically, but I think we just take on f8 and then take the queen. And we are white. We can create a breakthrough. And which one? I mean, is it this way? No, it's this way. So we go g5 first. If he takes, we run the e-pawn. And we don't start with this one because he just takes it. And then we can't run this guy. So we push that and we get this breakthrough. Okay. equal material. We can attack his knight. We have this check. That's it. So it's just a fork. Verifying. Looks good. Execute. We can just take his knight. So this seems like not a great puzzle. So, okay, we have no queen, so we have to give checkmate, and this is a mate in 3. 1, 2. Oh my god! Oh my god! I did that too quick. Yeah, because he just comes back. Oh, that was pathetic. Okay, normally I don't give up. Normally I start. If anyone that's new to my channel, anyone that's new to my stream, I don't stop until I hit my goal. But because I just did like a 2-hour chess lesson, I'm really tired. So I am going to end it here, unfortunately. I'm sorry about that I just blundered that puzzle, but that's how Puzzle Street goes. Yeah, so normally I would keep going here, but I'm really tired, and I have a bit more work that I have to get back to. So that's going to be my stream for today. Kind of a lackluster ending, but that's what it is. Thanks for watching. Thanks for stopping by. Feel free to subscribe if you're new to my channel and you like what you see. In any case, I'll be back tomorrow. And tomorrow I will start with Puzzle Streak, and then I will play a bunch of games as I usually do. Okay, see you next time. Take it easy. Have a good night.